नमस्कार। फिर पैसा बोलता है, मैं आपका स्वागत है। मैं आनंद श्रीनिवासन। आज मेरे साथ मेरे भाई विनोद हैं। हम हॉट टेक्स करेंगे।
So, what about this RBI, Anand, holding action for ease of? Because one thing which I'm very particularly funny I find in Indian situation is our government and our Shaktikanta Das has been repeatedly hammer and tongs going for the last year or more, saying there's no inflation in India. Inflation is very calm. Inflation is very cool. Then why is the RBI finding it so hard to cut interest rate in India? If their actions don't seem to be matching their words, why is
There
this?
are two reasons for this. One is inflation is not really down as you think it is. It's hovering between 5 and 6.
So this for election sake, they're saying it's cooled down.
They've been saying this for 2 years.
Correct.
And the media is also playing along with them. But down, if you go on the street, inflation at the retail level has been really biting. Because the inflation as they measure using a basket of goods is not a perfect basket.
Correct.
So they are struggling. Now the second problem is there is a what is known as the Mundell's triangle or Mundell's trinity. So you cannot have three conditions at the same time. You cannot have an open market, that is currency market, where currency can flow back and forth, and an independent monetary policy. So your monetary policy is tied with US. The world's monetary policy is tied with US. If US is at 5.25 to 5.5 and you start to cut rates, what will happen is the rupee will go into free fall. If the rupee goes into free fall, then automatically you will not be able to manage it. Inflation will become even bigger. Rupee will go to 1995. So basically what is happening is you are just copying the US model. If US had cut interest rates, then you can cut interest rates. Already our rates are not high enough. That is why in a slow decline, you are having a slow decline in the Indian rupee. It is slowly sunk to 83.44.
Yes.
If you look at 15 months back, it was 71.
Yes.
So there has been a 15% fall in about 15, 18 months.
Correct.
Right. If you had cut interest rates 2-3 times, you would be at 90. So what would have happened is gold will be costlier, everything will be more expensive, and life will be more difficult. So you cannot have an independent monetary policy. If you want to have an independent monetary policy, you have to close the forex market. Now they have tried closing the forex market. If you see what they have done is they introduced this 5% tax.
Correct.
Then said more than 7 lakhs is 20% tax.
Correct.
Which is to dampen the money flow outside. But what has happened is our foreign direct investments are low.
Yes.
You are at 2018 levels.
Yes.
That is a 6-year low.
Very true.
Right? But your LRS is an all-time high.
Yes.
So people are taking money out of India.
Sucking money out. Yes.
Sucking money out of India. Especially in the name of education.
Yes.
So what is happening is money is flowing out of the country and you are stopping it with your tax plan.
Yeah.
That means it is not a regulated flow. That and you are keeping interest rates high so that forex reserves remain where they are. If you reduce interest rates, then the rupee has to go adjust to 1995, which means two of your major things, energy, oil, and even gold is imported. That will go through the roof, and that will make the government very unpopular. So there is no way for RBI to cut rates, even if inflation cools off. Inflation has not cooled off is one reason, but the real reason is that the American market is extremely tight.
Okay.
And does not look like that even till September they are going to cut rates. Till September here also we will sell some gas we will give from story. But at the end of the day there will be no major cuts.
So even post Indian elections, whatever happens, whoever comes, whatever, you think the RBI policy will hold steady?
You have to hold steady. Otherwise,
No choice.
Unless the government is ready at 90 rupees.
Okay. So another trend which I'm seeing lately, which another news which has come now is FMGC companies, including small ones like Enami and big ones like ITC and Arbor is already doing is because of the slowdown in India, especially in the rural sector, they're hoping to bolster it all up with exports. What do you think about this?
No, the exports in India are single digits.
Hmm.
And so India is in a pick one situation.
Hmm.
You are having supposedly great growth.
Hmm.
But if your foreign direct investment is at a
Correct.
6-year low,
Hmm.
your demand is not there.
Hmm.
That is why all your FMCG companies are crying.
Hmm.
And
Correct.
private investment is not there because there is no demand, no private investment.
Hmm.
Import minus export is struggling.
Yes.
So basically, what is trying to so-called growth driver is only government infrastructure,
Hmm.
and government infrastructure is now be held up by government borrowing.
Hmm.
That is why the last 10 years we have borrowed more than what we borrowed last 70 years.
Hmm.
So how long can you do it?
Hmm. And what is your take on this FPIs being allowed to invest in sovereign green bonds via IFSC?
But at the end of the day,
Hmm.
what is government sovereign green bond? Call me something else.
Hmm.
Call me 20, pay me 40. It's basically government bonds,
Yes.
which is nothing but government borrowings.
Yes.
Indians don't have enough banks. You cannot squeeze banks more to buy government bonds.
No.
Indians are not buying government bonds
No.
because they are not giving inflation returns.
Correct.
So you are asking foreigners to buy.
Hmm.
If foreigners buy, they want two things.
Hmm.
They want the rupee risk is on them.
Yes.
So if the rupee risk is on them, they want protection on the rupee.
Yes.
That is why RBI is not cutting and keeping rates like this.
Hmm.
So he is basically converting his dollar and rupee buying.
Hmm.
The moment the rupee begins to fall, he will sell the bond here at whatever price and take the money.
Hmm.
So this is another reason, goes back to your full previous question, that interest rates have to remain higher than now because government needs to borrow.
Hmm.
And if government has to borrow using foreign money,
Hmm.
that we cannot afford depreciation of the rupee.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, now when we're talking about green bonds and green energy in India and wind and turbine and everyone talking, government's been giving a big push on this.
There is
Slows.
also another news. See, there is an app he's saying.
Yes.
So he's basically telling, boss, I'm deadly, I need money. Please come
We'll
borrow.
make it easy for you to.
Borrow money. But the point is, you are going to give me only 7%,
Which is like much lower than inflation.
much lower than actual inflation on the field.
Yes.
So people are not willing to buy.
Hmm.
And that is why you are saying the foreigner will buy, this fellow will buy, that fellow will buy. He's basically struggling.
So what's happening in this Air India Vistara saga? And what happened in it? What miscalculation has the management done when it comes to Vistara?
Yeah, what they have done is basically Vistara pilots were pampered lot.
Yes. Sounds
Making-
like our Indian public in election times.
Yeah, so they were a pampered lot. And now what has happened is they pushed the pilots to surrender new wage
Yes.
in which they would be flying lesser than what they flight before. So that the pilot salaries in both Vistara and
Air India
Rebel
was not
are
matching.
matching. And the airline pilots refused and the prices dropped and the
Aircraft.
the cruise dropped. And
Yes.
without the cruise, they could low trips.
Hmm.
And so they are running, scrambling to make sure that the planes fly.
Hmm.
But to normalize this will take May. Normally, it happens when two big airlines merge. There's a clash of culture. But here, even if it's the same owner, Air India had a different government Sarkari culture, and here you had a private culture. So there was a culture clash.
But
when they
most of the
merged.
airline pilots of Vistara are saying, why can't Air India take this new? Why can't they give a pay raise to the Air Indian pilots?
Then already you're bleeding. How will I bleed more? And Vistara was playing on profitable routes. But now you have to fight every route. You have to take on Indigo, and you cannot take on Indigo with such fat salaries. When you increase the salaries,
Yes.
you are not going to get people in.
That's what the Indian public and everyone should realize they're not running a charity. It's a business.
It's a business at the end of the
Yeah,
day.
Tata, everyone, because Tata is a good company, they assume Tata is running a charity.
No, he won't. He cannot afford to run it.
Okay. And the other news which I wanted to hit on was this Apple laying off more than 600 workers and shelving this whole Apple car idea. Is Apple really coming slowly into trouble? Because AI also, they seem to be lagging. The news was they're negotiating with Google and they're negotiating with Microsoft.
The
to get-
moment Apple got into trouble that the day Steve Jobs died.
Yes.
Right? There was a John Ivy or some particular person who was a design king.
Yes. They broke relationship with him and he also left.
He left, and then
Yes.
he was consulting.
Yes.
Then his teams have left.
Yes. The last guy from his team, that time era team, has also recently quit. He's retired.
Yeah, retired or quit or
Yeah,
whatever.
retired or whatever.
Basically, have knocked him off.
Yeah.
And he had a choice between giving the job this guy
Tim Cook or
Tim Cook or John Ivy.
yeah.
And he thought both of them will work together with Tim Cook. Tim Cook was the operations guy.
Correct. Numbers
Who could-
guys.
Numbers guy who could squeeze
Number.
maximum efficiency.
Yeah.
So he made Apple into a
Cash spewing machine.
cash spewing machine, very efficient, design efficiency.
Hmm.
So he looked at more and more and more efficiency
Hmm.
and cut design.
Hmm.
Finally, he cut too much of design.
Hmm.
So you reduce fat. I can afford to reduce fat,
Hmm.
right?
Correct.
Because I have only fat and no muscle.
Yeah.
But somebody like Dhoni, who is all muscle, tries to
Cut
reduce.
fat. Yeah. There's nothing to cut.
There's nothing to cut. He will cut muscles.
Correct.
So after cutting fat, he started to cut the muscle.
Hmm.
And now that they are paying the price.
Hmm. So what do you think Buffett uncle's take will be on this? Do you think
Now,
he'll
Buffett
continue-
uncle looks at it as a franchisee for iPhone.
Correct. And he's looking at also the cash reserves they are sitting on.
Cash reserves sitting on.
Hmm.
So uncle is not worried about
If they make a new product or not.
Uncle is worried about only how much. If iPhone stops selling, uncle will sell Apple.
We'll sell the Apple.
Yeah.
Okay.
आपने इस पॉडकास्ट को सुना, इसके लिए मैं आपका आभारी हूँ. तो हो सके तो इस वीडियो को लाइक कीजिए, चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए और बेल नोटिफिकेशन दबाएं ताकि जब हम प्रोग्राम अपलोड करते हैं तो आपको नोटिफिकेशन आए. हो सके तो उस वीडियो को अपने दोस्त और रिश्तेदार के पास भेजें और उनको देखने की आग्रह करें. धन्यवाद. नमस्कार. जय हिंद.
இந்த வீடியோ போய் கொடுத்துட்டு வா. அப்போ வந்து